The UK might be one step closer to a Corbyn-led Labour government, with Theresa May's Brexit deal being defeated in Parliament. Watch.
The ayes to the right, 202. The noes to the left, 432.
The ayes to the right, 202. The noes order. The ayes to the right, 202. The noes to the left, 432. So the noes have it. The noes have it. Unlock.
All right. So you can tell by the reactions there that this was a major defeat. Theresa May's Brexit deal was defeated by a larger margin than even the highest estimates predicted. So she was defeated by 230 votes, separating the yes and the no. So this tweet from a columnist for The Guardian, Owen Jones. Theresa May's deal has been crushed in Parliament by 230 votes, the biggest defeat suffered by a government in the history of British democracy. If she had any decency, she would resign on the spot. So, did Theresa May resign? No, she, of course, didn't. Now, it's unclear now what's going to happen next. So there is a deadline for Brexit, for the Brexit deal, of March 29th, meaning that there has to be a deal by then. Otherwise, there is a no deal. And in a no deal situation, look, I don't know the ins and outs of Brexit, but from what I'm reading, it would be terrible for the UK if there was no deal on Brexit by March 29th. So Theresa May has to, at this point, there's, I think, three different options. She has to either convince Parliament to vote for her deal, which, considering she was so clearly defeated, doesn't seem like a possibility. There is the possibility of there being no deal, or there's also the possibility of there being a second referendum. Now, I fully support there being a second referendum. I think the British people know a lot more now about Brexit and the ramifications of Brexit than they did back in 2016 when they actually voted for Brexit. So I think if they were to hold a second referendum today, then the people would vote to remain and not to Brexit. But that doesn't seem to have a lot of political will right now in Parliament. So even though the people seem to be pushing for a second referendum, for whatever reason, and I think the reason is because there's fear around what the Brexiters, how they would react, the people that voted to Brexit, how they would react to a second referendum. And I understand that. But if the majority of people change their mind, or the majority of people vote in a second referendum to remain, then who cares what the minority thinks? I mean, again, you should be going with what the majority of people want. But yeah, it's not clear what's going to happen with Brexit at this point. But here's how Jeremy Corbyn responded to this incredible defeat.
In the last 2 years, she's only had one priority: the Conservative Party. Her governing principle of delay and denial has reached the end of the line. She cannot seriously believe that after 2 years of failure, she is capable of negotiating a good deal for the people of this country. The most important issue facing us is that the government has lost the confidence of this House and this country. I therefore, Mr. Speaker, inform you I have now tabled a motion of no confidence in this government. And I'm pleased that motion will be debated tomorrow, so this House can give its verdict on the sheer incompetence of this government and pass that motion of no confidence in the government.
All right. So you can tell Jeremy Corbyn is pretty angry here, and he should be angry. Now, this motion of no confidence, if it does indeed pass, it would trigger a general election where it is very likely Jeremy Corbyn would become the next prime minister of the UK. But that it appears that that's not going to happen. it appears that Theresa May will survive this no confidence motion and remain the prime minister. So this is largely because of the DUP that she has support from. So this tweet from Owen Jones. The only thing uniting a bitterly divided Tory party is terror of a Corbyn-led Labour government. That's why Theresa May will win her vote of no confidence. Not an endorsement of her, but terror of Labour winning an election. So essentially, the elites in the UK in Parliament are scared of giving their power away to a socialist government, to a socialist leader, to the Labour Party and Jeremy Corbyn, which I understand their fear as people that have the money, as people that represent the elites. They don't want their power challenged. They don't want their wealth challenged. But the people do. The people do want the elites' power and their wealth challenged. So this is it's going to play out in two different ways, because within Parliament, you clearly have this Parliament where they are still in support, largely in support of Theresa May remaining the prime minister. But outside those walls, when you speak to the actual people, at least from what I'm reading and what I'm seeing, a lot of people want real change. They want actual change, and the polling is showing that as well. So Jeremy Corbyn, again, if there was an election called, he would likely win. And if there isn't an election called, I believe the next scheduled election is 2022. I'll have to double check that, but I think that's when it is. So, I mean, that's a couple years away, a few years away. So this idea that that Theresa May is going to remain. Now, Theresa May has already said that she's not going to stay on as leader for the next scheduled general election. So whenever that finally does happen, she will step down by then. But I just find it hard to believe that this government is going to survive until the next scheduled election. There is so much insanity happening right now with Brexit, and the fact that they've been so focused on Brexit has meant that they are ignoring a number of other issues, domestic issues in the UK. So I don't understand how this government can continue to survive. I mean, something has to break here. So Jeremy Corbyn's support his support keeps growing. Theresa May and the confidence in her keeps dwindling. I mean, at this point, it's anyone's guess what's going to happen. But at some point, there is going to be an election called, and the people at that point are going to be so pissed off, so angry, that I'm going to predict whenever an election happens, Jeremy Corbyn will clearly win and may even be able to form a majority Labour government.